Hello and welcome back to Creating Value Alliance web series. I'm Harmeet Kaur, member of the Creating Value Alliance, a career and college counselor from Bangalore, India, and your host for this series. The Creating Value Alliance is a forum designed to help executives, leaders, and their companies grow professionally by creating greater value for their customers and organizations. The knowledge and experience of our experts are vast, and through this web series, we aim to give you a taste of that ocean of wisdom. Today, I welcome our esteemed guest, Paolo De Angeli, who is currently leading the customer experience and customer value management team at Borealis AG. Welcome, Paolo.
Thank you. Thank you for the invitation.
Thank you. So I'll give me few seconds to introduce you, and then we will start the interaction.
Sure.
So Paolo has a strong background and passion for customer value, from value creation to value-based pricing. After covering several different pricing or slash commercial excellence positions for 15 years for both Syngenta and Borealis. At the beginning of 2020, he established the European Customer Value Management think tank with the goal to promote professional practices in the area of customer value management and started working on how to connect seamless customer experiences with differential value propositions. Paolo holds a degree in business administration from the Bocconi University of Milan and achieved his certified pricing professional designation in 2012 from the Professional Pricing Society. Furthermore, he was a member of the Italian board of the European Pricing Platform and was awarded by the INSEAD for the development of Pricing Project 2008. Welcome, Paolo.
Thank you.
So I think because we are talking of customer value management, I would like you to throw some light as how do you look at what is customer value management?
Oh, absolutely, with pleasure. Maybe if I have a chance, I would like to share just one slide, maybe helps visualize. Yeah. So I think it's coming. Yeah, you should be able to see it very soon.
Yeah, it's there.
So, perfect, thanks. So the way we look at customer value management is around these four areas that you see here. So we start with customer value creation. We proceed with customer value quantification, continue with communication, and then value capturing. What does this mean? So we all start by doing something better than our competitors, our next best alternatives for our customers. It can be in the area of our products, our solutions, our capabilities. This is, of course, very important because if we don't have anything differential to give to our customers, we are perceived as a commodity, as a Me Too solution, right? So here what we typically say is we need to be creative in what we are doing already because there is a lot that we are already doing better than anybody else, but we often take it for granted. Then moving to quantification, it's also very important to take some time to translate qualitative statement into money for our customers. Otherwise, as I typically say, it's marketing blah, blah, meaning that everybody can say, I'm more sustainable than anybody else, or my product is the best one in the market. But unless you can transform this into figures, into money, and say, my customer, thanks to me, is able to make 500,000, 1 million, or whatever, euros, or whatever currency you want to pick every year, better than a next best alternative, of course, then this is too theoretical, right? And it brings the conversation to a different level. So here we work with formulas, with hypotheses, and we verify and validate this with our customers, which is the third area here, communication. If we don't go out, visit our customers, share our hypotheses, and get to an agreement, if what we're doing is delivering more money to them, and they are actually more satisfied with us than with somebody else, it becomes a very nice but internal exercise. So it's very important also to bring this to customers. And the last part, capturing. It's also very important to claim our fair share of the value we create. We can do this by asking for better prices. That's the world of value-based pricing. But we can also ask better share of wallets or higher volumes to work on more profitable mix or reduce the cost to serve. So this is where customer value management becomes more of a commercial excellence topic and not only a pricing topic.
Excellent. So it's a very nicely bundled when we see the three C's and the Q, right? Creation, capturing, communication, and quantification. Yeah. And and you've brought both these four elements, I think, bring a good mix of quantitative as well as qualitative, right?
Yes, that's correct.
I would like you to bring some, throw more insights onto the value creation. Why the first element, the value creation, is very important in customer value management overall.
Well, a little bit looking back to what I said, I think it's important. It's a very important step of the process because it is, in my opinion, where it all starts. If we are not able to consistently and constantly create additional value for our customers, we may end up in a price discussion. And if your pricing or your price levels are the only thing that differentiates you from your competitors, then I think you have a problem because you can work on your price levels very quickly. Everybody can do it. And then eventually will lead to lack of profitability. While instead, if you are able to constantly work and have a pipeline of new ideas and new solutions, again, product, services, capabilities, also the intangibles, right? We say the intangible element of values have a very important role. Then you can constantly not only differentiate and be more profitable yourselves, but also work more as a partner to your customers that recognize that thanks to you and only you, they can become more profitable themselves. And maybe just one last word on this. It's as simple as the profit equation. Profits are revenues minus cost.
Right.
Revenues are price times volumes, and costs are either fixed costs or variable costs. So every time you meet one of your customers, your questions should always be, what am I doing with my value proposition, with my differential value proposition, to help my customers improve one or more of these four variables? It's as simple as that. If you are not able to find a simple answer, then you have a problem. And it's as simple as it goes eventually.
Absolutely, absolutely. I think that's about we work on one element and how that gets connected to the second and the third and the fourth, and we come back to the first one again.
Yes, absolutely.
Yeah?
It's a loop. It's a
loop.
cycle because
It's a cycle, rather.
indeed, absolutely, you need to capture your fair share of value, become profitable with what you're doing, and also it's fair, right, to that the customers recognize your efforts, to then create more value and finance additional elements of value creation. And by the way I've been always doing things here when it comes to customer value management is to work with customers in this phase. So we don't simply come out with solutions and try to push solutions to the market, but we have what we call customer value workshops, where we discuss with different contacts at our customer level about our current differential value proposition. And again, we come out saying every year we agree, this is the additional amount of money you make thanks to us. And then together we think about additional ideas of how we can make them more profitable to move from the current differential value proposition to the future differential value proposition. And our goal, our mutual goal, should be to increase the profits that customers make thanks to us, right? So it's a joint effort, and not only to identify areas, but also to implement these ideas. So we typically identify one accountable person from our side and one accountable person or more from the customer side, and then we monitor the progress. It is only by running these initiatives with a structured approach that we can see results. Otherwise, it's easy to get lost on the way. That's at least my experience in roughly 15 years I've been doing this job. Yeah.
Excellent. So you spoke about identifying, right? Now, that was one piece in terms of the two people involved on both the sides. But when we look at customer value creation, is it important to identify the sources of customer value creation? Are there any elements to that as well?
Absolutely, absolutely. And there are different ways
Okay.
to capture ideas. One is, for example, what I was just describing, right? To have a formal meeting. We call it value workshops because it's not a meeting as such, or it's not something that leads to the typical relationship between sales and purchasing. It is really a moment where both organizations, the supplier and the customers, stop to think about what the current differential value proposition is and what the future may be, as I said. And we typically invite people from also the commercial organization of the customers, or research and development as well, where different levels, so from specialists to managers to directors, even vice presidents. We had recently in some of these workshops. And the full agenda is about value. So we don't talk about other things in this. Typically, we have 2 workshops, 2 hours each. And we only talk about our value proposition and ideas to further grow their profits by working with us. We don't talk about anything else. And actually, I typically facilitate these workshops, and I act also as a bad guy sometimes in keeping the conversation to the topic. And we have some simple rules at the beginning, right before we start, that the parties agree with, which are all about keeping the focus on value and not on something else. And another source is our customer surveys, right? We launch typically customer engagement surveys. We ask our customers to tell us how satisfied they are with us, what is working well, and also to share any areas of improvement. And that's a terrific source of information for us to really follow up on what customers are asking us to work on, create more value, and eventually feed this cycle together with our customers.
Right, makes sense. I know you come with huge experience with your core specialization. When you say pricing, it's definitely about covers the whole gamut of a business, right? Because pricing can be the central piece, and then everything gets placed there. That's one part. And the structure that you've given to us in terms of creation, creation, quantification, communication, and capturing. I think that's an excellent start for anyone who has to look at the customer value creation, right? So my request would be, any last piece of advice on engaging customers on value creation initiatives? Is there a checklist, or is it some initiatives to start with, and then we say, okay, we move to the next piece?
Well, I mean, I'm about to say 2 very simple things, most probably known by majority of the peers and the leaders that are following us today. But to me, at least, are always very valid. The first one is, the checklist is know your customer. So before starting doing any of these initiatives, think about what the main issues or the main needs the customer is facing are. So what is keeping them awake at night is as simple as that. Is it something, again, that I can try to help them with my products, with my solutions, my services, right? So needs, feature, benefits. This is the basics, really.
Yeah.
So customers' issues, my solutions, the benefits that my solutions will give to the customers. So that's the first thing. And be curious about learning how you can help your customers. Oftentimes they will share ideas because it's in their interest. If not, be creative, be curious, and try to understand what, in your opinion, that particular customer needs to be successful over their competitors, and be there to help them be more profitable than their competitors. That's the first. And the second thing is, this is not a sales topic. This is really a cross-functional topic. So what I typically do, I work with cross-functional teams. I have CVN champions working with me, representing sales, marketing, technical support, application development, supply chain, customer service. Eventually, our value proposition is what we are, I believe. It's
Very nice.
what our companies are, right? Eventually. So this should not be an ad hoc initiative that you run to increase your prices by doing a little bit of value selling, and you do it 1 month before you go out and negotiate contracts. That's not, in my opinion, at least the best way of running this. This is not an opportunistic exercise. This is really an exercise you need to run with your customers as partners, something that you do every day. Anytime you talk with your customers, you explore with your cross-functional teams that our experts delivering value every day. Again, what the needs of your customers are, what solutions you can put in place, and what are the benefits they can derive by working with you.
Yeah, very well said. Very well said. I think it's an everyday practice, as you're saying. Every day, if the teams can sit together and say, today, what needs are we doing, focusing on, what solutions are aligned to that, and how does that benefit our customer? And in turn, it benefits us, the as organization, right?
Absolutely.
Yeah, I think
Because then we differentiate ourselves. We are
yes,
better than anybody else in the market. We
yeah.
increase our competitive advantage, and we can also consistently ask for a fair share of the additional value that we are delivering, right?
Absolutely, absolutely. Thank you so much for these insightful, the structure, insights that you've given to us. And all those who are listening, if they want to apply, I think this is a good start. Yeah. And
many thanks to you for the invitation and the opportunity. And I'm happy to stay in touch further on, whoever is interested to know more about our experience with customer value management.
Paolo. Absolutely. Thank you once again.
Thank you. And
thank
have a
you,
good rest of the
viewers.
day.
Yeah, thank you, viewers, for listening to this web series. We will be back with another round of discussion with another expert. Stay tuned. Thank you.